What's your age?
I don't mind, actually, because I'll tell you why later, but I tell you there's a little joke about what's going on about my age. People think that I'm much older, actually, than I am. But can you imagine publicizing how old a rock singer is? I mean, what sounds any worse than an old rock singer? I mean, even if she's youthful, how does people know that she's youthful or he's youthful? And then when all of a sudden you know that, you start thinking all of these things. Of course, like if you know that someone is, if it's a beautiful man or a beautiful man, beautiful woman, and they are physically in good shape, and you feel, oh, it doesn't matter how old they are, but suppose you don't know them and you haven't seen them, then you're not going to gather any people. You know what I mean? So that's why I don't like to talk about it. But I have to say now, since you've asked, I'm sure we just must talk about it.
How old are you?
I'm 40 years old, Dory, and it all came about from that. Now, because that image is now, I do little daring things like now the taking off the clothes, and it makes it more interesting because in the early part of my career it was just standing in the rag dresses singing song after song. So now just to change and give more variety, I just sort of, and it's typical of me because of all the energy and all the perspiration, and I mean, you couldn't do all of that in a lovely gown. It just wouldn't work. Love to, but not now.
You must feel completely wrong.
Very difficult as a black woman to get someone to take you and make you a star. You have to sort of come from a hit record and all of that, and then you move yourself into film and into television specials, etc.
Do you mind talking?
People thought that because of my husband is a very strong man and he sort of controlled everything, I guess they thought that he told me to dance and to sing this way and to do all of these things, you know, but I had to sort of prove that I did have talent of my own. He guided me well, and he was a great producer for me, but I had my own talent, and I felt that there was a lot of things I wanted to do as far as things that I wanted to do, how I wanted to do a show, songs I wanted to do, etc. And now I'm in the process of change of management, people that can sort of get me into film and take me where I want to go.
It seems strange to me because film, you know, involves hundreds of takes and doing things again and
but
again.
I didn't do
it's
it.
Not spontaneous like
I didn't do it yet, you know. I've been singing, I've been recording for years. I've done all types of music. So to do it take after take and just to be there on the set and just to do that, you know, it's just it's going to be great for me. Do you know what I mean? If your life totally changed now into something you wanted to do, it would be fine because it's what you want to do. So you wouldn't care about sitting around if the food was terrible, if the coffee was awful. You know what I mean? You just make do because it's what you want.
Right. How far away are you from that in your 7-year cycle?
I don't know, tell me about it.
Well, you know, I don't think about age, about myself. I think just naturally I've forgotten about how old I am or that it is not correct to do this at a certain age. Of course, if I was on a stick, I would say it's not correct. But I think as long as a woman is youthful and beautiful, there are no limits to what she can still do with her life if she chooses, you know.
Certainly are no limits to you, that's for sure. Finally, what are you going to do? What are you going to do next? Where do you see your career evolving?
I've said it many times, and I'll say it until I do it. The next step is movies for me, simply because it's the next step. It's what I want to do just to see if I could master speaking as I have mastered my vocal talents as far as the performance is concerned. It's something that I want to do, and this is just a change that I want to get a bit away from my performance that I've been doing for all these years and to get into something just a bit different. It's a very thin line between what the difference would be, except that, the exception of not having an audience, except you're just working. It's another power that you would touch upon because you're being live to a camera and not to an audience, and that would be that difference that I would check to see how my powers are as far as that ability is concerned.
When you became a solo performer, when you broke away from being Ike and Tina Turner, what kind of powers did you have to draw upon? Were you scared at first, and how did that change your life and the way you see your future happening now?
There was no fear, because then I was in control. I selected all the songs. I selected the musicians, and they were told to do what I wanted them to do. Where the difference is, when there are two people, there are two emotions. Because Ike might have wanted one set of musicians, I might have wanted another set, or I might have wanted to do different material. So there was no fear, no insecurity, anything. It's more power, as a matter of fact. I found that I could do it myself, you know, that not by playing an instrument. I could have musicians that could communicate with me and that could do what I wanted. So it was a lift, a boost to say, this is who you are. You can do it.
Okay, thanks a lot.
You're welcome.
Great.